Hey everybody, this is Matt Brundage. Right now we're going to learn how to draw Bruno. This is, I think, my favorite character. When I designed him, I kind of designed him a little bit after Andre the Giant because he's supposed to be enormous, and that's pretty much all they told me is. It's kind of a big ugly guy, even though I think Andre's kind of a handsome fella. That being said, Bruno was introduced in issue 4, okay? And he was Leonardo counterpart to the Mona Lisa, if you will. Okay? Kind of like the peanut butter and jelly, you got to have it together. They're using him to find the Mona Lisa who's been abducted by Scarlet. Okay? So this is Bruno right here, and I'm going to teach you how to draw him. And again, I may have a little bit more fun with this guy because he is my favorite. And I'm working really hard to get him to come back in later issues. So initially, here is me drawing Bruno, going to give you an idea of some of the basic shapes when drawing Bruno. Okay? Again, I'm not asking you to draw like me. I'm just asking you to actually, here's some basic things you can do to draw this character. So, whenever drawing his head, one of the biggest things I like to think about is Bruno has got a real big, thick, squatty head, if you will. Okay? Again, smaller at the top, bigger at the bottom, like you took a big lump of clay and slammed it into the ground, if you will. The eyes are kind of high. Okay? The nose is very short between the eyes, and you'll look to see how I draw the eye line, nose line, and mouth line, and that gives you an idea of some of the proportions when drawing the Bruno character. Okay, so a very square jaw and a very thick, monstrous head. I mean, the guy is 7'4" for crying out loud. So remember that good basic shape. So this is when all of a sudden, now that I have everything kind of lined up in place, I lightly lay out the basics of the facial features. They don't have to be perfect here. Okay? Again, this is where I actually hold the pencil in a sideways position. I just start laying in some details little by little. Some of my favorite artists use this technique, okay? And their art is much more natural and flowing. The artist that has the most natural flowing figures and faces without using this technique is my good friend Mike Allred. That guy is just a wizard with his artwork. I haven't seen him having to use any of these techniques. So when it comes to the eyeball of Bruno, a lot of times eyeballs have this eyelid folding over. With Bruno, I kind of really like to have just the eyelids folding straight over, and he's looking up from underneath that eye. Okay, so it's a little bit more grumpy and a little bit more sinister. Okay, so that's kind of the shape for Bruno's eye. It's straight on the top, nice curve at the bottom. Pencil in a good bag underneath the eye. These are some of the basics. So I have the brow line, nose line, mouth line, and I'm slowly laying it in. Again, now if I put the pupil in the wrong area or it's not the right size, it's very easy at this stage just to erase. However, now is not the time for detail. Now is the time for good broad strokes and basic placement of the facial features. I go ahead and delineate some of the cheekbones. Okay? And not that I'm even going to ink that or even put it into the final drawing. It's just nice knowing that they're there. All right, structure in a basic, good, giant, big old bushy handlebar mustache. Just kind of let me know where everything's placed. Everything's looking pretty good right now. It's all coming together. Okay. Basic when it comes to the ears, I like to keep the ears around the brow line and a little bit above the nose line. As just kind of a standard. It's not an end-all be-all. Different shapes, different size ears, can have different proportions, but that's a good basic. Okay. Again, if you want a tutorial on how to draw ears, that's going to have to be an actual whole tutorial on here's how we draw ears. Maybe I'll do one. I don't know. Okay. When it comes to drawing faces, here's the thing about drawing the human face. There are just millions of different faces you could draw. What you want to do is just instead study structure, skeletal structure, bone structure, simple things like that, basics of eyes. Okay. Here when I'm adding in the hair, I'm just adding a little bit of weight on top of the skull, and then I'm going to start adding broad strokes of curls, a little bit of the sideburns. Okay. And again, holding that pencil on the side really kind of frees my mind not to think about the details of the curls right now. Just the basic shapes of the curls and how it kind of cascades over the head and into the forehead. Big, giant, broad shoulders. He has no neck. No neck at all. Standard thing I say, when Bruno walks in the room, every head turns except his because he has no neck. He's got no time for that neck. And that's a good basic shape and a basic build-up of Bruno's face. Not an ending drawing, just a good basic shape. Now we're going to take that same thing, that same technique, and we're going to make him screaming. So same thing, big old thick face, eye line, okay, nose line to kind of give me basic ideas where I'm putting everything. Make sure everything's in the right place. Eyebrow line and mouth line. Okay? But now when it comes to a screaming face, now this isn't the end all be all again of how to do a screaming face. Again, I'm just taking that basic shape and I'm going to turn him into more of a screaming, craggly. And again, I love his teeth because his teeth are just a bunch of jagged edges. I mean, not sharp, just jagged, nothing in line. And I like showing a little bit of gum line here with him. Showing a little bit of gum line makes it a little bit more intense. Okay. And again, right here, I'm not looking to put details in. I'm just doing broad strokes where everything is placed. That's all. Okay. One of the best people I've seen, he's the most competent artist I've seen with his quick sketches, is if you've ever seen Jim Lee sketch, he puts down the most basic broad shapes and then fills all the detail out directly in ink. It's pretty incredible. And the illustrations are beautiful. All right, stick a little tongue right in the middle of the mouth. Simple as that. Okay. And again, I'm starting to go broad shapes. I'm making sure the nose is in the right place. It's the right shape. And we can start filling in some of the basics of Bruno. Okay. My thought process here is, how complete can I get it, okay, without going to my the pencil tip? Again, the second I go to the pencil tip, I start thinking details, and now is not the time for details. So just shape, cheekbones, jawline. Okay, these aren't things that even might not even make it into the final illustration. I don't know. Okay. Start broad stroking the eyebrows. Start placing in the eyes. That basic shape of straight across on the eye. Looking out from underneath that eyeball. Perfect. Okay. And I'm going to give him little crazy dots for the eyes. We're going to keep that good and simple. Just start filling it out. Okay. Crazy forehead wrinkles. He has these big, thick eyebrows that go all the way to his eyeballs. I love it. Again, super fun character to draw. And then just put a giant handlebar mustache on him. Yes, please. Too cool. Okay. At this point, honestly, this is, I may even just start going inking from here, but I kind of want to do a little bit more complete pencils. And again, if someone else is actually inking the work, I get very, very detailed in the pencils, like you see in the pencils above. Okay. So again, I pop the ears in there, right about the eyebrow line to almost the nose line. He has pretty small ears. I find little small ears on a big old head. Something just makes it look even bigger. As far as just laying the bulk of hair, curly hair, along the forehead and on the top of the head and behind the ears. And all of a sudden we're getting a Bruno screaming face. I like it. So again, these are more the details that you would see if I did complete pencils on Bruno. You know, if Mike Allred's going to ink, you know, some of these pencils, then I got to make sure it's all there and it's all complete. All right, so I've had an awful lot of fun, but it hasn't been awful drawing Bruno. And I already said I was going to have a lot of fun drawing him. So what I'm going to do right now is I will, I'll ink that one. We're probably going to speed it up a little bit. And again, we're going to go broad strokes first. And here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in all the blacks first. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, but I figure let's have a little bit of fun, because anything, if I put too much black in, I could always come in with the jelly roll. It's a jelly. I can put a little white in there, but I think I'm going to have a little bit of fun. inking this guy up. I may put some gray tones. However, what I will probably do, and we'll come back and look at it later, is I'm probably going to ink up a whole lot of these because there's a whole lot of fun little images, you know, such as simple, again, take just simple shapes, and then all I gotta do is just add a big old mustache. That's all I gotta do. See, for me, I would just done that in the inks, but just kind of show you. And a lot of people, they like their pencils a lot tighter than this. For me, if I'm gonna ink it myself, if Mike's gonna ink it, Mike Allred, these pencils will be much tighter. However, if I'm gonna ink it, that's about as far as I'll go, and I'll just let things have some fun. And you know, that's pretty much how this went. But then I just came in and I started having fun with the inks. And it always seems to turn out really well when I do it that way. It has more energy to it. So that's what I'm gonna do here. That's as far as I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna start inking it up. So you basically see how far the pencils go. You can pencil tighter if you want. And yep, I'm going with the Copics. Gonna ink this pure Copic. Here I go. Bruno. And we'll kind of stop right there to where just big chunky blacks are in there. And right now we'll start adding detail, kind of go from the black and kind of move out a little bit. So I got my finer brush and we'll just kind of have some fun with that. And bam, that's how you take that simple sketch and all of a sudden you have a finished ink piece. I love drawing this guy, like I said. So I'm probably gonna have a whole lot of fun. I'm just gonna ink all these, and who knows? Maybe we'll raffle it away. We'll give it away. I don't know. But that is Bruno, my favorite character. That I'm not gonna tell you what happens to him, but issue 5 is pretty awesome. What happens to him, and he has an amazing battle with another one of the characters, and I'm working hard to get him to have some good cameo appearances coming up. So go ahead and let DC Comics and Vertigo know that you like this character. Bring him back. Let's have some fun with him.